There's a time I was doing my attachment and I saw white when I was on the computer, and that's when I noticed that there's something wrong. So I had to again now learn how to live like a person who is visually impaired, because I was told I have retinopathy, and since it's diabetic retinopathy, it is irreversible. Having gone through that, I was introduced to Machakos Technical Institute for the Blind, where I went and did my rehabilitation, and through that I realized being exposed to blind people are amazing. Some of them are so inaitwa roju, wako sugu. Ukiambiwa waende mahali wataenda, hawataki kujua vile wataenda, lakini wataenda. I act in the Red Flag as Yvonne.
Walikuzaa na wakakuita nani?
Mimi naitwa Yvonne.
I act as the Luya lady. Naitwa Mama Panis. Yes, I know how to imitate Luya, and I'm growing. Kwa majina naitwa Jennifer Wanjera. I am an actress with the Blind Mix Masters Entertainment Group. My story starts when I was 3 years. It became a journey of in and out visitations to hospital because of diabetes. Nilidiagnosiwa na diabetes nikiwa mdogo sana. Nakumbuka mama yangu akijaribu sana kuhakikisha sikuli vitu sifai kula, but I used to feel very victimized kwa sababu I'm surrounded by people who can eat whatever they feel like eating, but me, I could not eat. So I had to learn not to feel so welcome by people, and also I had to live a life of always asking questions, why me, or what is so different about me. I remember when I was 11, 12 years, my mom had passed on. It was early in January, and I became very confused, because first and foremost, this is somebody who used to help me to test my sugars, used to help me to take medication, but now I'm exposed to a world of being alone and not even understanding how to manage diabetes. So this journey started on a very, very confusing note, and so I had to learn how to take medication, but I was doing it the wrong way because I was not properly educated. And now, since my dad was the one who was there, he also succumbed to sickness, and he also passed on later on. So I was left with me and my brother, and now we also had to find different places of going. I stayed with my auntie for some time. I must say, diabetes is a bit, it needs a lot of education, it needs a lot of monitoring, and that is not what I was getting appropriately. Reason being, one, lack of exposure, two, just ignorance, and also three, financial support. There wasn't adequate financial support at that time. So I had to really struggle for a long time. When I was in Form 4 now, I realized my eyes are starting to strain. I used to feel pain when I'm exposed to light, and I didn't know for what reason. Basically, I used to think maybe it's because I'm studying too hard. I remember one mistake I used to do was I never used to test my sugars, one, because there was no financial support for the machine. So without even knowing what's going on, I just take medication, and the medication is there in the body, but is not working appropriately because, one, I'm not making medical visits to the doctor because of financial support. Number two, because, since I'm young, since I'm a child, I'm exposed to medication. But this medication, it does what it's supposed to do, but the owner of the disease, that is me, doesn't know that I'm supposed to be going to hospital. Neither do the people I'm surrounded with know that. So because of this now, my sight started deteriorating, and I ended up finding myself with sight problems when I was in Form 4. Now, when I was in Form 4, it reached a point I couldn't even tolerate light. My eyes were paining, then it subsides. the fact that it subsided, I thought maybe my eyes are okay. I don't need to struggle or find any kind of medical assistance. I remember some time back when I was still struggling with that issue, I told my uncle, and he said, okay, we will take you to hospital, which they did, and I was just given eye drops. I did my Form 4 with a bit of struggles. I remember there's a time I was doing my maths exam, and I had to be taken to a dark room because my eyes couldn't tolerate the light. So moving on swiftly, I finished Form 4. Then when I was doing my college IT, I noticed at night I can't see properly. So this is a progression of sight deterioration. And my friends used to laugh at me because they used to think, wow, okay, then since we are going out, maybe you're too drunk, you can't see properly. But in actual sense, it's my sight that was deteriorating. I didn't know what to... Actually, I used to laugh with them, and I also thought the same thing. And now this, because of this now, I became blind, slowly by slowly. There's a time I was doing my attachment and I saw white when I was on the computer, and that's when I noticed that there's something wrong. Going to Kenyatta, I had to be put on laser. After doing laser, it was okay. Then again, fell sick and the sight deteriorated. So I had to again now learn how to live like a person who is visually impaired, because I was told I have retinopathy. And since it's diabetic retinopathy, it is irreversible. One, at this time, I'm an orphan. Number two, I'm a bit confused. I'm trying to understand what is happening. And number three, getting acceptance. Whoa, it was very, very hard. So having gone through that, I was introduced to Machakos Technical Institute for the Blind, where I went and did my rehabilitation. And through that, I realized being exposed to blind people are amazing. Some of them are so inaitwa roju. They're very, very wakosugu. Ukiambiwa waende mahali wataenda, hawataki kujua vile wataenda, lakini wataenda. I was exposed to people who cannot see from birth, and they are laughing. So I realized, okay, this is not as bad as I thought. I can continue with life. This journey now exposed me now to different people, different friends, and I'm so grateful to now the people I was exposed to who also helped me to realize my gift. And I started now acting with a group called Blind Mix Masters. Through this experience, now I also realized that it doesn't matter what someone has gone through. All that matters is what is inside you. Because what you go through prepares you for where you're going. So I started acting with Blind Mix Masters. Even in high school, I used to do acting and also music. I used to be a very, very active member of music festivals, dancing especially. And yeah, so currently I do acting. I also play the flute, and I aspire to do more. I also plan to go back to school, God willing, and yes, develop my gift of acting. So the beauty about all this is, despite the fact that, okay, I used to see and now I don't, but now I've realized I can see differently, because I'm able to, you acquire different abilities, like knowing people's voices, knowing how people walk, their sense, even people's body language, can be able to sense danger, and even adapting to this world, though it was difficult, very, very hard. I'm grateful to now different friends and even special people who have supported me, and people who have seen the best in me. I've also learned that getting criticism from people is not wrong. It's good. Let people criticize you. It also help develop you. It also develop your self-esteem, because honestly, it's having to move from having parents and not having parents, being sighted, not being able to see, it has enabled me to realize that no matter where or what the situation you're in, there has to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Because despite the fact that I don't have parents, God is still my Father. And I realized it through this trial and tribulation. Despite the fact that I could see, but now I can't, I realized that there's also internal sight, and you can see, but also blind at the same time, because you don't see the reality of things. And this world is a blessing, at the same time it's not. We face a lot of stigma because of the government and not being recognized. Being visually impaired, by the way, honestly, in Kenya is one of the hardest challenges, because we're secluded from so many opportunities. People don't want to understand about being visually impaired. So this journey of my journey in life has helped me to see the negative and the positive side of life, because once I was exposed to being visually impaired, I came to realize that so many opportunities manifest, but too little, there's no chance. The chance comes, and either you're victimized, or you're discriminated, or people don't understand you, so you end up fighting. You are fighting an endless fight. People don't want to listen to you, and then there's so much competition. But let me tell you, whatever, if you're fighting something, it just means you're complimenting it. If you fight somebody because maybe they are good at dancing, it just means you're complimenting them and you're feeling bad about it. That's the truth. So I believe in just bettering yourself, changing yourself for the better. Don't change yourself for people, but change yourself for you. Develop yourself for you, and also learn you. You need to understand yourself. You can take time, seclude yourself, and get as much support as you can. On my part, honestly, I haven't gotten family support as I'm supposed to. Reason being, they're not there as required. But there are other ways God has come through even BMM, through even friends and other colleagues, even at like when I get opportunities for work, you realize people want to know more. So even your voice speaks a lot about where you are. So I believe that disability is not inability. I have a Facebook account, Jennifer Wanjira. That's my Facebook account. Then Twitter is also Jennifer Wanjira. Number one, nimegundua kwamba usipojiangalia wewe kivyako, hakuna mtu atakuangalia. You teach others how to treat you. Kwa sababu nilipogundua niko na hii ugonjwa sukari, si ndio? It took a lot of effort, time and resources. So kama sikuchukua hiyo jukumu ya kujiangalia, sijui ningekuwa wapi saa hii. Kumanage diet, kumanage hata kwenda hospitali, inahitaji a lot of unahitaji tu kujiangalia. Kwa hivyo ningependa kuambia mzazi yote, either mtoto yako ako visually impaired, ama ako na ugonjwa yote, ama ako na any disability, usiwahi angalia mtoto kama ni mzigo. Number 2, jilinde wewe kivyako, kama ni linda maisha yako. Juu maisha ni tu yako na kuna mtu mwingine atailinda. Number 2, take responsibility of even your gifts and your opportunities. Don't wait for somebody to do things for you. Number 4, it's it's not good to complain. Watu tusicomplain ati kwa sababu hii na hii haifanyiki. Let's be part of a solution, not a problem. And number 5, never compare yourself with anybody. Take yourself as you are. Appreciate yourself. Celebrate yourself. I learned that despite the fact that si kuwa na hiyo uwezo waku, okay, I believe in healing because I am born again. But as I am praying and having that faith, it doesn't mean that nianze kujiuliza kwa nini. No, I come out of your kwa nini. And even as Kenyans, let's take that initiative to help those who need help, people who do not have any kind of abilities or any kind of resources. We assist each other. And really, honestly, I really do not like how the government is handling matters concerning disability. There's so much a propaganda. If you need to be done for this, either you need to pay for this, and too much discrimination, especially for visually impaired. Honestly, like if you go to any kind of environment, you'll notice the visually impaired are not recognized as much as others. And so we find that we have to fight. And this thing of fighting against each other in the community, even visually impaired, needs to stop. We need to have unity. Where there's no unity, nothing can flow. So unity is paramount. And even love. How can you say that you love somebody and at the same time you're backstabbing them? That is not love. How can you say you're for the visually impaired and you're not even assisting? That doesn't make any sense. So I do not agree that we should fight each other, but we should really unite and work with people who share the same values. Huwezi kuwa na mtu mwenye anapenda pombe na wewe upendi. Haitaingiana vizuri unless either they have something that unataka kama gifting, but in terms of kukunywa pombe na vitu zingine achana nayo. So ningependa sana nisaidiwe, the government tusaidie nipate kazi. That's the first thing. Number 2, ningependa hata education, develop education yangu. Number 3, also develop gifting yangu. I can give my number. My number is 0721 399 788. Yeah, you can use that. Yes, I am very, very, very sure you've watched some series and plays from BMM. I act in the Red Flag as Yvonne.
Walikuzaa na wakakuita nani?
Mimi naitwa Yvonne.
Yvonne.
And then also kuna hizi plays zingine tunafanya za comedy. So me, I act as the Luya lady.
Naitwa Mama Pani. See? For Paul. Nilituma tu salamu kwa watu.
Kwa hivyo niko mzuri sana na kuigiza Mluya. So kwa majina mimi naitwa Mama Panis, na ningependa tu kuuliza tu watu, kwa nini mnadharau? Kudharau si vizuri, kudharau walemavu. Walemavu ni watu wanapumua, wanaongea, hata kukula tu vizuri. Kwanza jai watu upenda na si ati kupenda tu sana, lakini wanapenda na roho yao yote. So yes, I know how to imitate Luya, and I'm growing. Nitajua kudevelop zingine with time.